What if existing data does not meet your needs? Or what if it only gives you part of the story? You then need to collect data on your own to fill in the gaps. This happens often in prevention or public health, especially if you are trying to assess local problems. You may have access to some national data or even state and regional data, but it may not tell the complete story of your community. Take an example of planting a garden. You find your vegetables are not growing well. You might look online and find various reasons why your plants may not be growing well from the Farmer's Almanac. You may even locate a state guide for growing vegetables and ways to grow healthy, productive plants. Regionally, you gather information on soil types, temperature, and average rainfall, but this still does not give you the detail you need to fix the problem. You decide to measure the pH of the soil where things are growing well in your yard and the pH of the soil where things are not. You also measure rainfall and record the amount of time the plants spend in the shade and the sun each day. Now you are collecting locally sourced primary data. This data will help you accurately diagnose the conditions needed to produce healthy vegetables in your yard. In some cases, you may be able to answer your research questions adequately using existing data, especially if data is available at the county or zip code level. Often, you have more questions after looking at existing data and need to collect more information. Starting with national, state, or regional data is best practice. Then, you can examine the issue further with local data collection. By doing so, you will gain a more comprehensive understanding of the health issue. In addition, you can use national and state data sources to establish credibility. For example, after seeing your state's youth marijuana rates, you may decide that you want to look at your county's marijuana rates. Perhaps you notice that the lack of parental monitoring in your county is correlated highly with youth marijuana use. However, this does not help you understand the local context for why this is occurring. You may decide to conduct a focus group with youth from local school districts who report students are smoking marijuana after school, before their parents come home. It is the combination of utilizing existing quantitative data, secondary data, and new local qualitative data that you've collected, primary data, that provides you with a comprehensive assessment to inform programs and strategies. If you will be collecting your own data, there are a few things to keep in mind as you make your plan. First, it's important to check your agency's policy on obtaining approval from the Institutional Review Board, or IRB. IRB is a generic term and may be called an ethics committee or human research review board. These types of committees or boards protect the rights and welfare of participants recruited for studies affiliated with an organization. You may have an internal IRB, or you may need to utilize an external IRB. To search for IRBs in your area, you can go to the Department of Health and Human Services Office for Human Research Protections. You can discuss your data collection plan with the IRB before completing the application process. Often, evaluation or community assessment is exempt from review. However, you should check with your organization before moving forward, especially if you will be working with identifiable data or if you are conducting primary data collection with protected groups, such as youth or prison inmates. You can increase your chances of IRB approval by following these best practices. Build a positive relationship with the IRB. Engage in dialogue through face-to-face meetings or phone calls about your plans. Follow the IRB's guidelines and submit all required paperwork. Demonstrate knowledge and expertise in the topic you will be researching. Ask questions and be proactive. Remember that the purpose of the Internal Review Board is to protect the rights and welfare of participants and improve study or data collection outcomes. This is what you want too. When conducting your own data collection, other ethical considerations include HIPAA, or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, which protects the privacy and security of individually identifiable health information, and FERPA, or the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, which protects the privacy of student education resources, including surveys, assessments, tests, and evaluations. If you are working with health data or student data, there are free trainings available to learn more about HIPAA and FERPA, which can be found in the Further Learning resources. The following questions can help guide your decision about whether or not collecting primary data is feasible for your organization. How will you recruit? Do you, your staff, or volunteers have the time needed to recruit participants? Do you have a budget for recruitment incentives? How challenging will it be to recruit a representative sample, or to gain the necessary permissions? Is there the possibility of accessing a pre-existing group of individuals to lessen the recruitment burden? Will people be willing to participate? Are you asking individuals about a sensitive topic? Are you working within a small community where potential participants may have concerns about staying anonymous? Will participants have concerns about the time commitment involved? Is compensation or another incentive available for participation? Is the community involved in the data collection process? What is the value added to pre-existing data? Are there similar demographic communities in your area that have available data that you could use as a proxy? Do you have access to necessary expertise for analysis of the data you collect? The answers to these questions will help you consider the feasibility of primary data collection and analysis, as well as consider the costs, both human and financial, compared to the benefits.